Right, so we've got the cars lined up on the grid. Marshall's just sorting out the last couple of rows, and this should be an absolute cracker. We've got any one of the top, I would say anyone that's on the first 4 rows of this grid could win it. Actually, it's that close. But it's Jack Irvine then at the front of the field on pole position from Ian Munro. Then we've got Daniel Patterson next up and Ollie Mortimer. Easy to spot, they're all different colours, so it's as well as having different numbers on them, of course, so we should be able to keep track of who performs off the grid and who doesn't. So very, very evenly matched championship. Some really fantastic drivers in this the top 4 rows of the grid, just real class. So let's see how we go. 30 seconds to go then. This is the second last race of the day. We've got Legends after this, and then the Superlap Scotland final. So we're building up to a thrilling climax to the afternoon. 5-second board shown for this 9-lap sprint for the Mini Cooper Challenge or Mini Cooper Cup. The red lights going on the gantry. All red lights are now on, and away we go. Good start from Ian Munro, a very good start from Chad Little on the 3rd row as well. Chad Little just about to make it 3 wide as they go into the Beach and Bridge with Daniel Patterson and Ollie Mortimer. It's 3 wide for 3rd place. It's 2 wide for 1st place. Ian Munro sweeps round the outside of Duffus and takes the lead. Chad Little loses out a little bit as they go into Leslie's. Ollie Mortimer's off the road and he's going across the grass on the inside of McIntyre's. This could be dangerous when he rejoins in front of the field. They all manage to check up and stop before they hit him, but that's allowed the first 2 cars to escape. They're side by side. The Butchers, Daniel Patterson squeezes Ollie Mortimer out, and Daniel Patterson goes into 3rd position, but it's Ian Munro in the lead from Jack Irvine. A big gap then back to Daniel Patterson and Ollie Mortimer. A little bit of kerfuffle at the start there, but everybody is safely through to complete at least the first half lap of the race. But the leading 2 have broken free completely from the rest of the field, who almost had to stop to avoid hitting Ollie Mortimer as he came back across the track on the exit of McIntyre. Nothing Ollie could do to avoid that.
And that is called for the safety car, actually. I can see the wave yellow is just at the start-finish line there, so the safety car is going to be deployed.
Right, there's something else I've missed it. Oh, there's another, unless there's another car involved down there somewhere, but yeah, there is some activity. Again, it's behind the bit of embankment that I can't see past, so there's must be somebody else involved down there with Ollie Mortimer. Ollie had that terrible moment where the car goes on to the infield at McIntyre, and on the damp grass there's nothing the driver can do. You just know you're going to end up back on the track right in front of the pack, and there's nothing the driver can do. But luckily Daniel Patterson saw him coming and was able to just check up in time to avoid a big T-bone incident. So Ollie got away with that, but I don't know who else is involved in, so we'll check on the timing computer who we've got missing.
Yeah, I just noticed when they come past, Daniel Patterson was down in 5th, so will he move back up into 3rd?
Yeah, he should be sitting in 3rd actually, so not quite sure what's happened there. Yes, Chad Little sitting in 3rd on the road at the moment, so yeah, they'll yeah, we'll have to do a little bit of calculation as to where everybody is, but yeah, I think the car that's gone missing is potentially Blair Dryborough in the 13 car. He has not completed the 1 lap, so now Blair Dryborough started, let me see, where did he start? He started 18th, Blair Dryborough, so he couldn't have been possibly involved in anything with Ollie Mortimer, who was way up further up the grid. So unless that's 2 separate incidents and we just haven't seen the Blair Dryborough car, that may be what has transpired. So there is I think a recovery vehicle down there. I can't see anything because it's all the other side of the earth embankment at the bottom of Duffus. So we'll just have to wait and see what appears into sight getting towed away. So that settles everything down after the start anyway. So the order that we're seeing on track, and I'm not quite sure, like you Kenny, I'm a little bit confused how they ended up in this order, because I'd have thought Daniel Patterson was a very highly deserved 3rd place, but what's maybe happened is some drivers reacted quicker than others to the safety car boards and drove to the safety car flags as opposed to just lifting off early. I don't know, but anyway, Daniel Patterson, for better or worse, is down now a couple of places further back than we expected him to be. So Ian Munro, Jack Irvine at the front, Ollie Mortimer in third, ahead of Chad Little, Daniel Patterson, Robbie Dalgleish, and I think, is that Jason Ballantyne up to 7th? Yes, it is. So Jason Ballantyne very much in the hunt here, actually. So we've still got a fantastic contest ahead of us. The safety car lights remain on, and the car has been recovered though to McRae Corner at the beginning of the Rallycross loop. Safety car lights are now out, so Ian Munro in the yellow 23 car will be leading the field around. He's just starting to weave to warm up tyres. Jack Irvine is staying within a millimetre of the back of his car. Ollie Mortimer pretty close behind them as well. Safety car is now at the hairpin as the field gets led around by Ian Munro. Ollie Mortimer leaving a bigger gap than I would expected between himself. In fact, he's closed the gap now between himself and Jack Irvine. And the car's queued up very nice and tightly indeed. This is going to be a good safety car restart here. Ian Munro not in any hurry to get back up to racing speed. I think he'll just sprint away on the exit of the hairpin. Yep, here he goes. No overtaking, of course, until they pass the green flag, which is the start of the pit lane. And Ian Munro then leads the way from Jack Irvine, Ollie Mortimer, Chad Little, Daniel Patterson, Robbie Dalgleish, and Jason Ballantyne ahead of Martin Mujatunga, and then the 88 car of Barry Holmes. The field streams along under the bridge. Everybody well behaved through Duffus, Leslie's, and into turn 3 at McIntyre. Jack Irvine very, very close to the back of Ian Munro all the way through that section, trying to pile on the pressure, force an error, but he hasn't managed to do that yet as Ian Munro heads up over the brow of the hill at the top of the chicane. Jack Irvine very close to him though, and Ollie Mortimer sitting there just homing in on them as well. There's just nothing to choose between the top three here. Chad Little maybe a car length further back from Ollie Mortimer, and still ahead of Daniel Patterson and Robbie Dalgleish. But oh, fantastic racing here as we come towards the hairpin. Ian Munro leading, but how long will he lead for? Here comes Jack Irvine having a look at the inside line. That could leave him vulnerable to attack from Ollie Mortimer as he fails to make the pass on Ian Munro. But Ian Munro makes a little mistake on the exit and they go 3 wide as they approach the start-finish line. Ollie Mortimer on the inside, Jack Irvine in the middle, getting a little bit left behind. Ian Munro in the lead, but Chad Little trying to muscle in onto the back of Ollie Mortimer's car. It's just a group of 4 cars smothering the track. Daniel Patterson behind him. Ollie Mortimer makes a huge lunge for the front, and Ollie Mortimer just gets in front of Ian Munro. Can he get it through? Leslie's at the bottom of the hill, only just. Big sideways moment for Ollie Mortimer in front of the pack there. Ian Munro's been shuffled down to 4th position. Chad Little into 2nd, Jack Irvine 3rd, Ian Munro in 4th. Then we've got Robbie Dalgleish, Daniel Patterson and Jason Ballantyne. What a race for the lead of the race. That was a brilliant overtaking manoeuvre from Ollie Mortimer. Tremendously brave lunge down the inside of Duffus, and he just made it to out of Leslie's. He was well side if he was coming out of Leslie's, but managed to pull the front end round, get back into the lead. Chad Little going with him though, and Jack Irvine right on Chad Little's tail. Robbie Dalgleish starting to move around in the slipstream behind Ian Munro in the battle for 4th and 5th. And they all concertina up in the hairpin. Ollie Mortimer in a place he likes to be, which is in the lead, but maybe prefer it if he didn't have Chad Little so close behind him. Chad Little's missed a gear coming out the hairpin. Everybody's flooding past Chad Little now and leaving him behind. Chad back up to speed as he gets it and finds a gear now, but he missed a gear coming out the hairpin, and that's put Jack Irvine into 2nd. Ian Munro and Robbie Dalgleish side by side for 3rd. Robbie Dalgleish round the outside of Ian Munro, takes that 3rd position as they go down through Leslie's, and now it's Chad Little and Daniel Patterson trying to get through. That's lost their momentum as they battled their way through McIntyre's, and that has allowed Jason Ballantyne up a place ahead of Chad Little and onto the tail of Daniel Patterson. Chad Little has just tumbled down the order there just because he came out the wrong side of a couple of overtaking attempts. Up through Clark Corner they come. Big moment for Daniel Patterson, who sideswipes the barriers on the exit of Clark Corner. That's a high speed off into the gravel at Clark's. I think he should be okay. He was into the rectocell barrier, so that will have absorbed most of the impact. He should be fine coming out of that one. But Ollie Mortimer is that leads the race ahead of Jack Irvine, Robbie Dalgleish, Ian Munro. A little gap back then to Jason Ballantyne, then Chad Little and Martin Mujatunga, and then a big gap back to the rest of the field. We may get safety car, but let's wait until we see the yellow flags. Daniel Patterson safely out of his car. It was a big impact into the recticel, but the recticel will prevent significant damage to the car. And as I say, Daniel Patterson, most importantly of all, is safely out of the car and walking up to the marshal's post behind the barrier. So the race continues. Ollie Mortimer in front from Jack Irvine and Robbie Dalgleish. Robbie Dalgleish getting very close to Jack Irvine now, piling on the pressure as they go along the back straight towards the corner, the Clark corner. This is where there's yellow flags, so he can't do any kind of overtaking attempt here as they pass the yellow flag zone. Ian Munro still hanging on in fourth there, ahead of Jason Ballantyne and Chad Little and Martin Wichatunga. Down towards the hairpin, they're in green flag territory now, so overtaking possible. Robbie Dalgleish doesn't move, he doesn't flinch in the slipstream of Jack Irvine. He must have been tempted to have a go there, but he would be braking on a damper patch of road. There's a good dry racing line through the hairpin. He may be trying to think about another alternative overtaking, because I think he's fast enough to pass Jack Irvine. He's constantly there on Jack Irvine's tailgate. Jack Irvine not able to produce a gap between himself and the third place Robbie Dalgleish. Down the hill they go to McIntyre's. It's still Ollie Mortimer. Oh, and a mistake from Robbie Dalgleish. He's run wide on the exit of the McIntyre's. Ian Munro goes past. Jason Ballantyne goes past, and Chad Little just squeezes past at the apex of the chicane exit. That was a very tight manoeuvre indeed, but Chad Little up a position as well there. So Robbie Dalgleish, potential podium, has dropped it away down to 5th or 6th position. Ollie Mortimer gets a little bit more breathing space. Jack Irvine gets a lot more breathing space, because behind him now is Ian Munro being pressured by Jason Ballantyne. This is a great comeback from Jason Ballantyne, who ended up dead last after race 1 yesterday, and has gradually worked his way up race by race to the point where he's now challenging for a podium position, which will help rescue his championship lead at the end of this weekend. But it's Ollie Mortimer out in front at the moment, on target for 25 points from this race. Jack Irvine in second. We've got just 2 laps to go in this 9-lap sprint. Jack Irvine, I think, fancies his chances here. He's never let Ollie Mortimer build a lead. Equally, I think Jason Ballantyne fancies his chances for at least a podium. And Robbie Dalgleish back on terms with Chad Little. They're battling now for 5th and 6th, but Robbie Dalgleish swarming over the back of Chad Little, desperate to make up at least into the top 5. Fastest lap of the race is Jason Ballantyne, a 62.316. That's 3/10 quicker than Ollie Mortimer, and the lead is going. And it certainly shows a mark of intent, as Robbie Dalgleish has passed Chad Little coming through Clark Corner. So that's Robbie Dalgleish into the top 5, but he's a long way off the 4th place man, and with just about 1.5 miles of the race remaining, it might be too much for him to catch the leading 4. So we know who the leading 4 are, but we don't know yet who's going to be on which step of the podium and who's going to miss the podium entirely. It's Ollie Mortimer leading across the line then from Jack Irvine, Ian Munro and Jason Ballantyne. Under the Beatson's Bridge they go, and Ian Munro must be looking in his mirrors to see where the attack from Jason Ballantyne is going to come. That's where the most likely change of position is, I think. They head towards McIntyre's. There's Jason Ballantyne within a car length of Ian Munro as they exit McIntyre's. He's running out of corners of which to make an attempt. They're through the chicane now. He's very quick through the chicane as Jason Ballantyne. He's got a little bit more momentum than Ian Munro. I don't know if he's close enough to try and pass him into Clark though. Up they come through Clark Corner, all in line astern. Jason Ballantyne sliding slightly wide over the curbs there, but round they come on the racing line. There's one corner, it's the last corner of the last lap. Ian Munro's already gone defensive, so is Jack Irvine. That leaves the left hand side of the road clear for Jason Ballantyne. He takes the invitation, goes round the outside of Ian Munro, but Ian Munro's on the drier bit of tarmac, gives him plenty of room on the exit. Ian Munro weaving about behind Jack Irvine to try and find a way into second position, but it's won by Ollie Mortimer. Then is Jack Irvine, Ian Munro and Jason Ballantyne across the line. What a fantastic finish to the race. Chad Little finishes ahead of Robbie Dalgleish at the last second as well. Just sneaked it ahead by just over, or just under 2/10 of a second. Chad Little ahead of Robbie Dalgleish at the finish. So Ollie Mortimer, car 70, wins it. Jack Irvine, car 65, in second, and Ian Munro, car 23, in third position. Fantastic racing. Jason Ballantyne just missing out on the podium, and Chad Little pipping Robbie Dalgleish on the line. Fastest newcomer was Martin Wichatunga. He finishes 7th overall, and just ahead of Barry Holmes, Ewan Robertson and Ross Foster rounding out the top 10. So fantastic racing.